Works 100% of the time.
Hey, bury it.
He
That
says,
could work for you.
it's quite pungent and it smells like real bits of panther.
I would like to get that, actually. I think I need that. How much is your Sex Panther?
It's 5 gold pieces for the entire bottle. Not per splash, my friend. For the entire bottle.
It burns the nostrils, like you said.
It does. It stings the nostrils.
Definitely give that to me. I am very interested. I have not been near a female in a long time.
This will
A
probably
very
keep you
long
away
time.
a little bit longer.
Ever.
All right, so Kel, go ahead and on your character sheet on the inventory tab, just right click and create an item and just put down perfume. So anyone else want to buy anything? I've got holy water, I've got some acid, I've got some antitoxin, I have some potions of healing, I have alchemist fire, I have some inks,
Don't eat the brown acid, man.
I have some dyes, some bath oils, as some of you could probably use those as well. I know there's something here that you guys would probably want.
I will take 1 antitoxin and 2 alchemist fire.
Well, that's all that I have. Let's see. That would normally be 150 gold. Just give me 100 gold, my friend. I will take 100 gold.
Deal.
You can go ahead and add those onto your sheet. Just go. That stuff is in the items. Just do searches for it and drag and drop it. Anyone else? Holy water? Got a boggin basement special. If not, I'll probably end up selling it over to the priestess Chandra. I've got some acid. Got any enemies out there? Maybe you want to splash some acid in their face.
I'll take some of that holy water, if you don't mind.
Sure. I have 3 vials, and I'll sell you all 3 vials for 50 gold instead of 75. How about that, adventurer?
You got a deal.
That's a great deal. Maybe all of you will buy everything that I have, and then I can leave this godforsaken town. Maybe you will even buy the building out from under me. That is for sale as well. Anyone for bath oil? In fact, how many of you are in here? He's counting heads really quick, and he says, looks like there's 4 of you. I have 4 bath oils. You've spent quite a bit of money here already. So why don't all of you take a bottle of bath oil? And he throws all of you a bottle of bubble bath. So you guys can also write down on your character sheet. You have some
Bubble
very
bath.
good smelling bath oil as well. Anyone else?
We all have
Thank
those,
you.
all the bath oil?
Yes, all of the bath oil's gone. He had 4 of them. He says, oh, wait a minute, here's one more. You can give one of these away if you'd like, and he throws it to you. Whoever catches it will get a second bath oil.
I catch it.
Okay. I think you may need that the most, wizard. As he kind of looks away from you and rolls his eyes.
Hey. I puked on this a few times. It's got to get washed. Whenever we get around to getting near water. I know there's no water in this town particularly, but that's okay. We'll get to it someday.
There's delightful water in the well in the middle of the town.
It's
Are
contaminated.
you blind, wizard? Are you blind? It's not contaminated. We'll drink it.
I'm myopic. Don't say that. I'm not blind.
Okay, wizard. Probably fooled me. It seems you all blind. Anyone else need anything? Last call, because I'm fixing to turn to sign to closed.
Well, thank you. These
Nope.
purposes will come in handy.
McClancy, thank you so much for the follow, McClancy. Well, safe journeys, adventurers, safe journeys. So why are you here in Parnast? I've never seen you before. I wanted to ask you, and hopefully you'll tell me why. Let me guess. You must have been the adventurers that brought the statue to the temple. Hmm? Word
That's
gets
it,
around
you got
faster
us.
in Parnast. Yes.
You found us out.
As one of his, remember in Monty Python, Quest for the Holy Grail, his henchman got shot with an arrow with a note attached, and he says, "Message for you, sir," as he fell over dead. And that's how we found out. One of his employees got shot with an arrow with a scroll attached to it. And just before he died, he said, "Message for you, Silas." And then he fell over dead. Ah, you are the adventurers that brought the stone statue to Parnast.
Silas, your brave servant will not have died in vain.
Absolutely not. Word gets around here fast in Parnast.
I feel better.
But I'm not dead yet. Surely you're gonna die soon. No, I'm feeling much better. So thank you for all of your business, adventurers. Maybe we will meet one another down the line sometime. And then he starts to usher all of you out. Be gone, be gone. It's time to go to the yellow tankard. He says it's time to go to the yellow tankard.
Maybe we'll see you there.
I'm sure.
What about
you
the golden
probably will.
tankard?
Yellow tankard, the golden tankard. It's the same goddamn thing, huh?
Sounds like a bathroom, sir.
Sounds like a really dirty place to go.
The golden tankard is the best. It's the finest, the most finest establishment here in Parnast. Well, of course, it's probably and is the only inn in town, but nonetheless, Ragnar runs a very tight ship over there, and all of the food is. Did you just hear that? Anyone? 12.1 minutes just
Someone
went by.
else broke it.
Those
Wasn't me.
bastards. I'm gonna catch those kids, and when I catch those kids, I am gonna just. Anyways, yes, Ragnar runs a tight ship over there. Seems like squirrel's been on the menu lately, but it's great squirrel nonetheless.
Sounds neat to me.
Yes. That's where I'll be heading, so maybe I'll see you over there, chaps, and maybe I'll even buy you around. Ta-da! As he escorts you guys and pushes you guys out and locks the door behind you and turns the open sign to closed. And then he pulls down the shades of the shop.
Well, I guess that role play's over.
Well, you guys were pretty quiet, so, well.
Moving
Moving on.
moving on. Let's
Moving
go
on.
someplace else.
When I hear crickets, it's time to move on. So, as you guys were diddly-daddling over there at Silas's Herbalism store of Herbalism Emporium, we'll call it, Shem, you were over here in the Golden Tankard.
Yeah, I walked up with Barian. Just noticed him in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, me and Barry, or Barry and Chim are in there.
Right. You and Barian head in there, and there's a big yellow sign that has a big dark black sign with a yellow tankard on it that says the Golden Tankard. And this is one of the largest buildings, except for the stables, of course. It's the foul-smelling stables is basically the dominant structure in the town. So as you guys walk in, you can tell that it's not the fanciest inn that you've ever been in, but it's the only inn. And well, it's not even an inn; it's a drinking establishment. So really, beggars can't be choosers, right? So as you guys enter,
Exactly.
yeah, exactly. You guys enter, and all of a sudden, all of the conversations they start to dampen. And all of these heads, they start to turn your way. And then a large, burly man with huge David sideburns and a beard, dark hair, he's making his rounds in the room. He notices you enter, and he shuffles over. Of course, he has a slight limp as well. And he says, "Welcome, friends, welcome! I am
Well met.
Ragnar. Well met, my friend. Even though you are not here. Well met, Ragnar. Name is Ragnar Redtooth. Couldn't remember my name there for a second. Come in, make yourselves comfortable. And he's kind of like ushering you guys over to a table near the hearth of where everything's happening. And a female comes up and he says, "Ah, this is my daughter, Elspeth. Elspeth, get these fine customers something to drink and something to eat. Bring them some bowls of berries and some baskets of bread." And then, Elspeth, she gives you a polite curtsy, and she sets down some very beautiful goblets on the table, and she's filling them. Well, she's also carrying a small little chamber pot as well, and she's dipping into it, and she's giving you some stew, and then she pulls out of her pockets, the big apron that she's wearing, she pulls out a small wheel of cheese. She has a couple of other bowls she puts on the table. She puts some berries in one bowl, some piece of bread that she pulls out of the other one, and she breaks it over her knee. And obviously it's definitely has a little bit of age to it because it kind of shatters into a bunch of different pieces, and she puts all of the bread chunks into the bowl.
Croutons.
Exactly.
She says, fondue place.
She says, "Just dip it into the bowl. The bread will become moist again." Well, my friends, I welcome you, and I'm glad that you came into the Golden Tankard, because word of mouth has gotten around that you are the brave adventurers that fended off the attacks of the desert and brought Chandra Stoll's precious statue to her. So I have some plans that I would love to discuss with you. But first, we shall feast with meal and drink, shall we? And then another server comes out and, puts down a large platter, and you're kind of looking at it as as it is a dimly lit bar in here. And as your eyes are focusing, there's squirrels. There's about a dozen squirrels on this platter, and they've got strawberries in their mouths, sort of like how a pig would have an apple in its mouth. Well, these squirrels have basically strawberries or other small pieces of fruit like grapes in their mouth. And he says, "Eat up, my friend, eat up! We shall talk in several minutes. Enjoy the drink, enjoy the meal, and it's all on me, Ragnar."
Excellent.
So, yeah. So you guys are starting to eat. It starts to get a little bit louder in there. A little bit of music is starting to be played in the background. What do you do as you guys are feasting now?
Has the group from the alchemy shop made it over yet?
Sure. After a couple of minutes, they will appear, but not yet. Not yet. Shem, what are you doing in here?
Yeah, so when I came in, we got ushered over, but my main goal is just to kind of chit chat with Barry in a little bit, but to make it seem like I'm not eavesdropping. I'd like to see just what's on the tongues of the commoners, what's the news of the town, and it's a good way to kind of figure out who's in charge, or
Sure.
whoever they're complaining about, whoever they're talking about. Oh, this person did that. Or
Sure.
I'd like to figure out who kind of runs this town.
Sure. There's quite a few villagers that are up playing darts. They're hitting these targets on the wall, and these targets are in the same type of attire of what you had shown Chandra. The robes and whatnot. So it looks like they're playing darts and just hitting cultists, which is kind of funny. And there's like a picture of a castle, floating castle that is on clouds. There's a picture of a giant. So as you start to drink and eat with all of the villagers of Parnast, you're starting to find out that there is a little bit of information being passed around about. First off, someone killed Gertrude, and the town is definitely not. And rumors are that it was someone that had already been living here named Sarpy that had killed it. There was some bet going on in the middle of the town, and all of a sudden he draws his bow and shoots the cow, and the cow fell over dead. And now the town's not going to have any more milk, so there's some pissed off people here. But then they also go in as say, when we find that Sarpy, he's in a world of crap. He's gonna have to buy us a new Gertrude. So you're also finding out that Parnast really doesn't have a real leader. But it seems like a lot of the town listens to the priestess for guidance, Chandra Stoll, because she's actually quite wise. And she's only been here in Parnast for maybe 6 months or so. Now, of course, you know that the cultists were here. They took all of the Zentrum power that remained. And, but you can actually tell, Shem, that the villagers kind of miss the Zent in a way that, even though they weren't the most fair to deal with, but at least with the Zent in charge, the village actually prospered. But when the cultists came in, knocked the rest of the Zents out, it's just gone down ever since.
With being my background, would I know where the Zents went? I mean, they all kind of, it seems like everyone just pulled out of town, but
you're part of the Zentrum, aren't you?
yeah.
Give me I would say give me a history check. And also, you know that although a lot of people look for Chandra for guns, you really can't. You know that the Zentrum were here and they pulled out. They went south somewhere. You remember in all of your teachings with the Zent. You don't know where they went, but you kind of remember maybe they went south.
Okay.
But you're also hearing that although a lot of the town went to Chandra for guidance and whatnot, Ragnar was cooperating with the cult. Actual Ragnar Redtooth, the owner of the Golden Tankard. So you're hearing that some say he was doing it for personal gain, for personal gain, and it actually made him very unpopular with most people in the town.
Okay.
Now he also is in control of the small little militia that is in Parnast as well. And it's not a standing militia. It's, all of the farmers and the other proprietors of Parnast, they can get together, and if needed, they can put together a small militia of about 25 able-bodied. And Ragnar's the one that trains them, because Ragnar actually had a little bit of time in the military, so he's really the only one that could train him. So, you notice that this is no place to stay. It's not an inn. It's just a huge tavern. And a couple of the villagers tell you that the only place that you'll probably be able to stay at a cheap price, which is probably free, you could probably stay in the stables. But because it doesn't house any animals anymore, because of the damn cultists put wyverns inside. And,
yeah, Christ, we could smell that stable as soon as we walked into town. You expect me to sleep there. Ugh.
Well, yes. Well, I don't know. Maybe you can section off part of the tank, the golden tankard here. Maybe Ragnar will allow you to do that. But and as you can see, as you're coming up to them, you're talking to him and you're eating your squirrel on a stick. You know what I mean? Like, these damn squirrels, it's all we have left. Since the cold left, they took all the game around. But rumor has it that in the Weathercoat Woods there could be some large game in there. But legend says it's very dangerous and full of all of these evil creatures of the forest and of the Fae that lurk within the woods. No one goes there, so there will be a lot of game to be had. And then you also know that this huge crater to the southwest is where the flying fortress actually docked. So on that note, let's take a 5-minute break.
Marion is hanging back, being low-key, looking around to see if there was any criminal element in here. I'm interested in finding out using my criminal contact to see if there's any criminal elements here and what the status of the floating fortress being docked is, what effect that's having on business.
Well, the skyship hurt business, and now that it's not here anymore, it hasn't been for several months. Business is definitely down. As Ragnar comes over, as you guys sit down as well, he says, any business is good business. Business has been quite in the pits lately. So yeah, and in fact, the herbalist had mentioned that also the owner of, I think his name was Calder, the halfling over at the trading post, he'd actually mentioned that business was down. So yeah, the cultists definitely hurt, and like I had mentioned, even though you weren't there, you're starting to, you've been hearing that the Zentrum was once in charge, and the villagers, they, even though they didn't like and respect him, they at least, the town was in a better state than what it is now. When the Zentrum were here. Oh, thanks, Schmo.
Okay.
Thanks.
So as the group walks in and
Thanks,
we all
Schmo.
kind of start settling down, I'll let them know that that Ragnar Redtooth, the proprietor of this place, said that he wanted to have some words with us. Grab your drinks, grab your food, but expect to speak with him at some point.
Oh, I hope he's not mad about the cow.
Yeah, I would not show your face here as much as you possibly can.
That's
There are
too
at least-
late.
Got the cow.
There are
Too
at
late.
least 5 drunken villagers ready to kick your ass because they ain't getting milk tomorrow.
As Malachi walks in, he's rubbing his hands together and he says, "All right, guys, hook me up with that steak dinner. I heard you guys were so gracious as to kill your only cow for us. Thank you."
I'm going to kind of brush my hair into my face and pop my collar and duck down and kind of try to blend into the crowd and be like, I'm going to whisper, I was like, I guess this will be my first real test of my stealthy abilities.
Do you have a disguise kit and shit like that?
No.
All right. Well, you're noticed as you go into the tavern, and a couple of the villagers, Sarpi, they are demanding that you buy a new cow for the village. They're like, it's only going to cost you a couple of gold probably, but you better replace Gertrude if you know what's good for you. And a couple of them, they're kind of joking around, and one of the villagers actually slaps you on the back and says, "Well, at least you weren't protecting the town. You probably would have shot one of us." And he just kind of laughs about it. He's got a huge tankard in his hand. So you're noticing, all of you, that the golden tankard is actually getting busier and busier. And there's only about 70 to 75 villagers that live in Parnast. It's pretty predominantly all human except for a family of dwarves from the smithy and the family of halflings from Ye Old Trading Post. So it's getting busier and busier. And you can see Ragnar Redtooth and and a young boy that works for him. They're coming in and out of the kitchen. They have all kinds of these kettles of soup that they're putting on every table, lots of platters of these, and as you guys sit down, you see that there is a smorgasbord of potatoes and berries, bread, stale bread. Then there's squirrel on a stick, and these squirrels have strawberries or chunks of fruit in the mouth, and they're quite delicious, actually. Not a lot of meat on them, but nonetheless, they're still pretty tasty. Now, you're kind of getting the feeling, and especially Shem, since he had told you that he had a proposition that he wanted to present to you, it seems like this place hasn't been this busy in a long time, because they're even having to take all of the tables that were stored in the loft over, in the roof. They're having to bring down tables and dust them off, dust off chairs and stuff as this place is filling up. Ragnar's, he's running around frantically, you can tell, and he's yelling orders at this this poor young boy that he's running his ass off in and out of the kitchen and whatnot. Now, these squirrels, like I said, they barely have any meat on them. And some of them even have these looks of fright on their face because the heads are still on them, of course. And it looks like some of these squirrels were even trying to still escape as they're being
God.
So
As they
Ragnar,
were scared.
exactly, as they
So
were
where are they getting all
Vlad
these
the
squirrels?
Impaled, the forest has an abundant amount of squirrels. The cultists didn't mess with the small game. They just messed with the large game in the area, and that's why there's no elk or stag or anything like else. That was basically they ate the horses, they ate everything except for Gertrude. They left the town one cow. But,
We didn't come riding in on horses, did we?
yeah, but remember, Azan is camping in Old Parnast, which
He had
is to the
camels that he took up with
northwest.
him.
Yeah. So Ragnar, he returns back over to the table, and he sits down, and he says, well, I trust those mugs are treating all of you kindly enough, huh?
Quite well, sir.
No need to
you.
thank me. No need to thank me. The road can be an unwelcome companion. Without a proper pint and a friendly place to enjoy it, and that's why we are all gathered here at the Golden Tankard. And he's pulling up his chair. He's getting comfortable here. It doesn't look like he's going anywhere. And he says, well, I suppose I'll not waste any more time then. Here is what I have in mind. So, he tells you, well, remember how you brought this statue into the town? It literally brought tears to Chandra's face, as I had talked to her earlier. The town needs this. So, the good person that I am, Ragnar Redtooth, I would like to hold a grand feast in the town square, and I would like to announce it here in front of everybody. And I would like to have this big feast to celebrate the arrival of the statue. Now,
So you need us to catch squirrels?
not
I'm
to
fast,
that point
but not
yet.
that fast.
The squirrels are good, but it would be good for the spirit of the townsfolk. Nothing's happened good in Parnast for a while. We're basically under control of some cults, of a cult that worship the dragon. They were also in cohesion with the giants. There was a huge storm giant castle here. And they basically took everything in the area. They basically pillaged all of our fine town here. So the spirits of all of the townsfolk are down. And I think a feast like this could boost everyone's morale. I think it really would. So,
Well, that's not a bad idea, but from what I understand, there's nothing around here but squirrels.
well, that is quite obvious, except for a couple of the villagers just bought Gertrude to my back door. So we have at least a little bit of red meat for the celebration. But the meat of Gertrude just is not going to be enough. We're going to need a couple of more stags or boar to feed the entire village, and we have no such big game around here in the parts of Parnast anymore. And I think everyone is about, I'll be frank, I think they're tired of eating the squirrels. You can only eat so many squirrels. It's like eating frog legs. There's just not enough meat on them. So there's no game in the surrounding area. We can't just keep feasting on chipmunks and squirrels. But I have been told by several scouts that passed through on another caravan several weeks back that there is some sightings of some big game in the nearby Weathercoat Woods. But none of our scouts or hunters here that live in Parnast are brave enough to enter that forest. There are ancient stories that people have gone in there and passed. And I think it's hogwash. But it seems like these people that went into into the Weathercote Woods never came back. But of course, this is well beyond my time. Mez, thank you very much for the follow.